Hey friends, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my experience as a new seller in the world collectibles. In this episode, I talk about how to establish a reputation as a new marketer in a new space. I talk about different ways that you can gain credibility quite quickly, what things people are actually looking for, regardless if you are a new seller or not, and then how to kind of price competitively so that people are attracted to your offer. Also, this is the part where I include like the music for the podcast, but because the way that I'm recording this on my phone, I can't drop the music. So pretend there's music here, and then we're going to cut right to the episode. The other day, I decided to go on something like a selling spree. Instead of a buying spree where I'm buying up all the things, I decided that I wanted to sell all the things. And yesterday, I actually came into possession of some signed albums. These are collector's items in the K-pop world. These are signed albums by a band called ATEEZ, who I've talked about a lot on this podcast. But essentially, I purchased more albums than I actually needed. And I was like, you know what? I really don't need all of these signed albums. I kept one of them and then I decided to sell the other two. But I don't have a reputation as a seller. There is an app called Mercari, which is basically like the K-pop friendly version of eBay. If you are selling K-pop merch, usually collectible photo cards or signed albums, things like that, most people like to sell it on Mercari rather than eBay just because it's a lot easier to sell on Mercari, basically. And that's also where people happen to be looking. And I decided, you know what? I want to sell some of these signed albums and some of the photo cards so I can make a little bit of that money back and also buy other K-pop stuff that I actually want. And I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and sell some of these albums. And so I went into Mercari and I was like, I don't exactly have an established reputation quite yet. So while others had thousands of ratings as sellers, they've got 5-star reputation, they're professional sellers, they know what they're doing. Here's me with 0 sales and 11 reviews as a buyer. I really didn't have any reputation at all. So I didn't really think that the items that I posted were going to sell that quickly. So what I did was, in order to make sure that I had a profile that had established a little bit of trust between me and the buyer, so establishing a reputation as a seller instead of a buyer, I decided to use my profile photo, use an actual profile photo of my face rather than like an avatar that many people have been using. And then I've also decided to put my Instagram handle in my bio as well so that people can find me outside of Mercari and kind of see that, I've done other stuff, or that, I'm a real person basically. And so I was like, cool, I'll do that, and hopefully that'll be enough to establish somewhat of a reputation. Again, I'm going up against people who have thousands of reviews and have sold multiple items to many people, and here I am, again, 0 listings as a seller and no reputation as a seller. But I was like, cool, hopefully my profile photo and my Instagram handle will be enough. Maybe people can find me and they'll trust me enough. And then I went ahead and just started posting these listings. And the first thing I listed was a signed album. So I posted the description of the album. I took a photo. We have something, when it comes to listing photos, you want to make sure that the photo that you post is your original photo, that it's not a photo taken either from the website or somebody else's listing. And so what people like to see is they like to see the original item along with a picture of your username. Some people like to write it on a Post-it note. So for me, I made this really, really fast. This is a picture of Hongjung. If you guys are watching the YouTube version of it, this is not the most flattering picture of Hongjung, but I needed to make something really quickly with my username on it. And then this image is taken alongside each listing. So let's say I wanted to sell this photo card. This is another photo card. This is Hongjung teddy bear version. I love this. Again, you can only see this if you're on YouTube. And you would take a picture of the listing and then post what's called your seller ID. It's not really a seller ID, but you would post your seller ID. And then you would post it together so that way people know that this was your photo, this is your item, and you took it. And so this, as silly as this can establish credibility really, really quickly. And so every single listing that I would have a picture of the item. This is not for sale, by the way. I love this. I am not selling this. And then you would have a picture of your quote unquote seller ID. And that shows that you own this item. And so that was the first step into establishing trust as a listing. Now, as silly as the seller ID photo is, with the most ridiculous picture of Hong Jong I could possibly have, and then the handwritten username, this is going to come into play in terms of establishing reputation as a new seller. You don't need to have, when it comes to Instagram, when it comes to selling anything, you don't need to have the most professional looking account. You don't need to have. Now, as I'm talking about these different things that you can do as a new seller, keep in mind that these are just layers, not any one thing is going to make your product sell. These are all different types of layers. So I'm going to be talking about, selling, describing your product, describing your offer. We're going to talk about, we just talked about creating, a consistent looking Instagram feed. And the next thing I'm going to be talking about is giving people what they want, as well as pricing and all of these different things. Just keep in mind that these are different layers. Not any one thing is going to automatically be like, whoa, okay, you're going to be seeing sales overnight. It's these different things that are layered and stacked on top of each other that help make the sales. All right, so this next one is going to be a little bit obvious, but I want you to just listen closely. I gave people items I listed items that were in demand right now. These are items that people were looking for today. These are things that people wanted today. Now, I have a whole collection of K-pop. I have a whole storage unit that is hosting some of my other albums and other photo cards and other things. Now, I have a whole bunch of things that I could sell, but when I did these initial listings, what I did was I listed the most in-demand items first. I didn't start with old PC's photo cards. So I didn't start with old PCs that people don't really want. I didn't start with the $5, $6 photo cards. I started with a $55, $60 signed album. Okay, actually, let me pause for just a second. Now, while technically my first listing was a signed album, I decided to slow down for a bit and post a couple of older photo cards that were the $5, $6 photo cards that don't have a whole lot of value. The reason for that is because I wanted to get an idea of the platform. I'm like, okay, when I post a photo card, what's the best way for me to post it so that people are interested and people will buy it? So what I did was I actually took a look at the photo card and I did some research on similar listings. I looked at what people were titling their description, how people were taking pictures of the actual photograph itself, what people were putting in the description, what the tags were, et cetera, et cetera. And then I basically followed the same kind of system where they had, the name of the photo card in the description and then a bunch of the keywords in the description. The name of the photo card in the title, and then the description had all of the other keywords that were in there. And you listed your description with as many keywords as possible. And so once I figured out the system and like how to kind of get your product seen, then I was like, oh, okay, this is how it works. Then I went on to go list more of those expensive photo cards and signed albums. The application for you here as an online marketer is that when you go to start selling items, you maybe don't have the intention to actually sell a certain item, or let's say you want to list an online workbook for $7, you're not going to make a whole lot of money off that online workbook, but you will get an idea of how to set up your systems so that you know how to set up the checkout, how to set up the sales page, how to maybe set up the thank you page. So if you're new to selling online, you maybe want to start with a $7 workbook rather than a $700 program, because if you dive right into selling a $700 program, it's going to be quite overwhelming. You're not sure, where people are going to put their credit card information. You're not sure if that's going to trigger a thank you email sequence or what have you. And so you want to make sure to test your selling skills with a $7 item as opposed to a $700 item. Okay, so going back to what I was talking about, selling items that are in demand today. This is eventually what you want to do is once you get used to selling those $7 notebooks or $7 workbooks or $6 photo cards, then you can start selling the higher end stuff, the stuff that's worth a little bit more money. And when you sell products that people want today, no brainer, people are going to buy it. Now, just because something is in demand doesn't mean people are going to buy it right away. In fact, there is a photo card series called the FYP series or For You Paves series that was sold at an in-person pop-up, and only the people who went to the pop-up got this particular photo card. And so because a lot of people couldn't go in person, the people who went to the pop-up are now selling them online, and they're selling them for ridiculous prices. Again, this photo card people received for free, they're selling it for $100 plus. Now, most PCs, like I told you, are like $5, $6 for most photo cards. These people were selling it for $100 and above. A photo card, again, it's like a trading card, just like this one. I'm holding up, this card right here. This is a picture of the Hongdong teddy bear. This is an official photo card. This piece of paper probably cost 25 cents to print, and people were selling it for $100. Not this particular one, but what's called the For You page series. Sorry, For You page version. And yeah, people were getting a little ridiculous. Now, I happen to be in possession of one of these For You page photo cards, and I thought that selling them for $100 was quite ridiculous. In fact, people were very upset that they were being sold at that price. So what I did was I priced it not where it was $5 or $10 like some of the more accessible photo cards. You can pretty much get those photo cards anywhere. These photo cards were a little bit rare, and I decided to price mine at $25. Now, part of it had to do with, one, I didn't want to price it at $5 or $10 because I knew that these photo cards were in demand. Also, I didn't want to price it at $100 because that felt like price gouging. So I found a sweet spot where it was priced about what you would normally price an in-demand photo card that you wanted to offload quickly. So I could have priced it maybe at $40 or $50, and it still would have felt a little bit high. And so I got a feel for the market, and I was like, you know what, 25 sounds like a good price for this. I went ahead and posted at 25, and it's sold like a few minutes after I posted it. The takeaway here for us as online marketers is to make sure you price your program that is both in line with market demand as well as what feels good for you. So you don't want to price over market demand, but you also don't want to underprice either and feel like you're not pricing it high enough. So find that sweet spot, what feels good for you, and then also what works with market demand. Market demand is sort of the cap that you can sell your offer at. So for example, those rare photo cards cannot go over $100. If I decided to price my photo card at $150 or $200, very good chance it's probably not going to sell. It's somewhat of a commodity in that it is the same exact photo card that somebody can get elsewhere. And so trying to price it at $150, $200, it's just impossible. Nobody's going to buy unless they were crazy. And then also I didn't want to price it at $5 or $6 because that is undervaluing the actual card itself. And I feel like I want the other person who buys the card to feel like they're getting something valuable. And so I priced it right at 25, just enough for me to offload it and not feel guilty for charging too much. The other thing that I did was also make sure that the description was accurate. Now, I have mentioned the description in earlier parts of this podcast where I talked about the title having all of the keywords and the description having all of the keywords. Now, the takeaway that I want online marketers to get here is to use the words that your potential audience is looking for, that your potential clients, your potential customers, what words are they using to find the product or to find your product or program. Now, with this particular photo card, again, I'm pointing this out on the video version on YouTube, but this is I like to call this Teddy Bear Hongjun, but that is not what this is called. This is the Golden Hour Part 3 Hello Live Teddy Bear version. So again, Golden Hour Part 3 Hello Live Teddy Bear version. This is what people are searching for. That's not the term that I use, but it is the term that other people are using. Now, again, I'm on video. If you guys are listening to the audio, I am describing the back of the photo card. Each photo card has a back, and that describes exactly the origin of this card. And so, and then you can also include, I can also include the front, which again, Teddy Bear Hongjun. I can put that in the description as well. But I can't make that my only description. I need to have the actual title, the actual search terms that people are looking for. And the more specific I can get, the better. So I can even put Golden Hour Part 3, but that Hello Live, it is a very specific pop-up. It's a very specific event that this photo card was distributed at. And so I want to make sure to include that as well. Now, again, what are the real world applications for this as an online marketer? Think of the words that people are using, especially if they're looking into health and wellness programs. They're not necessarily looking into health and wellness. They may be looking for very specific types of programs. Maybe they're looking for intermittent fasting, and then there are certain types of intermittent fasting. Or let's say they have hormonal issues and they're looking up solutions for a specific hormonal issue. And so you want to make sure that those key terms, those keywords are present inside of your sales page. In terms of SEO, it is helpful in terms of SEO. And then at the same token, not only is it helpful for SEO, when that person is reading your sales page, they're identifying what the words on that page. When they see, oh, this person has this specific term on here, they are speaking to me, and that is what I want, you're more likely to make that sale. Again, with the photo card that I was just showing you, that keyword hello live, golden hour part 3, hello live. If I am looking for that specific card or that specific, that specific item, it could just say golden hour part 3, but that specific teddy bear card is not going to show up on search unless I type in these. Sorry, I got cut off. But yeah, basically that keyword hello live, that is an indicator, and that is very, very specific. So you want to make sure you have those key indicators, those key keywords in your description whenever you are talking about your online offer or your program. At the end of the day, you don't need a big reputation in order to sell. You can simply show up as yourself, be authentically yourself, and make sure that you're connecting with your audience. So you could do that simply by showing a picture of yourself, showing your face on Instagram, social media, and that way people can connect with you as a real person. Then you combine that with an offer that people are desperately looking for and then pricing it correctly, and you're in a great position to be selling. Then if you add in this layer of keywords that people are actually looking for, keywords that your audience identifies with, and that's really, really going to help you amplify your sales. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope you enjoyed this format because I'm sticking to it. It's the only way I can get a podcast out. I don't like my camera. I don't like the big bulky microphone, so I'm sticking to this. And similarly for you, if you don't like recording on big fancy equipment, if you'd rather just use your phone to do it, this is your sign that you can keep it simple and still get content out there. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode, which will actually be the 1-year anniversary of the Optimized Online Marketing Podcast. So look forward to that. We have some prizes for you coming up next week. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next one.